beard is so white. And you know, I'm like, you see that brother behind me right there? I bought that brother about 25 years ago. Something called me to him, but the more I live, the closer I get to this brother. And you just keep right on living too. It's gonna happen for you. We're gonna get started though. We can be small but mighty. Today is May the 19th. It says, help your friends with things that you know, for you know these things by grace. At a time when unity is so depressingly needed, it is significantly lacking. Unity. Misunderstandings about basic philosophical differences place people on opposite poles. Competition for perceived limited resources separate people along racial, social, and gender lines. The need to be right and feel supported separates us from those who hold different views and opinions. Our internal obstacles and external oppositions create a debilitating conflict and limits the coming together of the people of the world. If each of us would take the time to examine our feelings, we would see that they are right too. The nature, experiences, and perceptions of individuals help mold the ideals they hold. If we could remember and respect this right for everyone, we could avoid open confrontations. There are so many causes and issues in the world and so many ways to approach them. It is unlikely we will all agree on one way. Unity does not mean we will all believe in or do the same thing. It means we agree to do something without battling over how and why. All roads lead to the end. All roads lead to the end. And I'd like for you to think about that in relationship to transition. Transition is a themology for tonight. Um, Transition, I want to keep that word up front. Anybody have a response or a thought about the acts of faith for tonight? Nobody got nothing? Are y'all hearing me there?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Hey,
but well,
can
so
can you hear me, brother?
I hear you. I hear you, James.
Yeah,
Good to see you, man.
like good evening, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we can depend on is change is going to happen.
Right.
So transition is, like you say, it's key to try to stay on pace with it.
Yeah, it looked like we got Richard McLemore at least on the phone. Well, that's great, man. I miss you, man. Are you there?
Hey, Pops.
Hey, man. Nice to hear your voice, man. You doing all right?
I don't know. What'd you say?
You doing all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great, Pops. I'm on my computer. Oh, there it goes.
Okay. Hey, you two. Oh, hey, you three. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Look at them.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
the
trying to figure this
family.
out. Hey,
Wow,
hey.
the family is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Great. Give us an update, family.
Man, I
Is
mean,
that oxygen?
it's been a whirlwind, you know. I came to group that time and Nuggles is in the hospital and he was fighting for his life. I know the lighting's bad here because I'm in the living room.
It's all
Uh,
right.
and he was, he was fighting for his life. Uh, and since then, I mean, he's had that successful heart surgery. He's gotten off of
Right.
oxygen. We're working him off his medication. We finally got him home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing amazing. I mean, this dude, he's he was born at 3 pounds. He's almost 13 pounds now.
Woo! That's a big boy.
Oh yeah, this is my little nuggets right here.
Yeah, nuggets. I like that.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
he hangs with his daddy, and really, I'm just it's this COVID-19 is such a tragedy. Um, but what it's done, it's allowed me to be at home, because obviously bills started to get paid, and you got to make income somehow. And with this COVID-19, it's pushed people into having to do things through telecommunication, which has really been a blessing because I've been able to be home with my son and just it's magic, pops. This is stuff I dreamed about when I was in that cell. You know what I mean? This is
Right.
yeah. So man, I'm just this is everything right now.
Well, Richard, you saying a mouthful there. I remember the last time we were in group, we had a strong prayer. That was a prayerful night, and here you are reporting good news. And listen to him. Good news to the
Yeah.
group, and I'm just so grateful to hear that. And really, I just want to say I've been trying to stay away, waiting kind of for things to situate themselves so that I could see the baby and this and that. And like you say, COVID-19 on top of all that was going on makes things a little more challenging or a lot more challenging than they would be normally. You know what I mean? But man, I'm so proud of you. And obviously you were prepared. Watch this. And Rashad, I'm going to bring you into this conversation. Jim, I want you to hold your thought there on the acts of faith. We'll come back to that. But I'm going to tell you, man, there is something about a baby's orbit. Babies have their own orbit,
Yeah,
right?
they do. They
And
do.
then you don't even realize, you think that in some ways you're doing something with them, but the baby's actually doing something to you because
Every
you
day.
start, you
Every
start
day.
getting into the baby's orbit, and it's just such a thing. It'll put you in a like of a daze and take you back off your own stress levels and what you don't have and what you think you need, and bring you into his or her orbit, and cause the feelings of love and devotion and affection to spill out onto your lap. I'm telling you this. I know now you've experienced it,
No.
but over here, uh, Rashad is getting ready to go through the exact same thing. Rashad and his fiance are
Okay.
expecting in July. I believe
You
it's
want it?
July
Yeah,
10th,
I
10th
see
or 11th. Huh?
it. You want to take it?
And so I
Yeah.
know I want Rashad
I
to
know
kind
that
of
because they're going to come over and
hear
talk.
you and hear what you're
Maybe I'm
sharing
going to
about
go and
that.
talk. No,
Um,
don't go run.
and so uh, my sister's on
Go
there,
get
but you,
something.
you guys got to hold that background noise down because otherwise we can't hear. But anyway, Richard, I see you clearly now, and it's great to see your face, and you look full of life, man. And now, how do you feel about this new title you have? The greatest title you will ever have in your life is Dad. Can't hear you right now.
Oh no, I said I feel good, pops. I mean, I feel comfortable. This is how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's amazing being a daddy. It's funny because when you talk about being a dad in the philosophical term, it doesn't sink in like when you are a father. You know what I mean? When you look down at this baby and you realize that you're responsible, and what you pour in is how they turn out. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
what it really is I'm humbled, pops. Because being in them cages and being in them cells and starting at such an early age like I did, man. After a while, you believe that you may be incapable of taking care of someone else. You struggle getting out to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
So you start, even if you don't admit it to yourself on a subconscious level, you're worried that you may not be able to step up to the challenge.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
but for me,
absolutely.
it's been such a blessing because even though it was scary, it was unknown. I didn't know what I was really getting into. I mean, having a child is life changing. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing not getting any sleep. It's been a blessing not working a lot. It's been a
Right.
blessing learning how to learn my son's temperament. I mean, it's all been a blessing. That's all I can say, Paul. I'm just a changed man, and I'm
Yeah,
grateful for my child. I'm so
yeah.
grateful for my son. I'm
That's
so grateful
beautiful,
for his
man. That's
mother.
beautiful. Wow,
I'm just
wow.
grateful.
That's beautiful. Rashad, are you hearing all of this?
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, Rashad, are you hearing this? We can't hear
I'm
you.
sorry, I was muted still. Absolutely, I'm hearing.
And what's that making you feel?
I mean, first and foremost, I couldn't be happier for my brother Richard McLemore. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that brother's over there glowing. I get it. I'm
Yeah,
eager. I'm eager to feel the same glow as my girl just walked in on the phone. You know, but as the days draw near, like he said, I mean, it's just grappling with the fact that I'm gonna actually be an actual father. You know, I'm 34. I just turned 34 May 1st, and I've been wrestling. You know, I went through the phase where it's like, no, I don't want no kids. You know, when you're still a kid yourself, like, I don't want no kids. I ain't never having kids. I'm gonna be this way my whole life, and then actually yearning for it and not, you know, not getting to do it, but then finally meeting someone to do it with, and that's to me what's most important, because I mean that's the reason I waited this long. Like, I'm not just gonna do it with anybody. Like, I'm gonna actually be with the woman I'm gonna do it with. So that's equally as important. But it's a surreal feeling.
That's so
She,
important.
she's
That's so
getting real
important.
big, right?
Yeah,
She's getting
yeah.
really big.
She getting
Um,
big.
she's getting big. Abby, could you come here for a second? Yeah, yeah.
Hey, hey, Rich.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
He wait a minute. He bringing his chicken. He said she got big on him. I know Cece was getting pretty big there too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey,
Whoa.
give
Now
her
that's
some
big.
dab there.
Okay,
Oh my
look at
God.
how big this right his belly is. Oh, she
Hey,
walked off.
hey, you know what? I was thinking, hold on, don't show that to Chris Owsley, because that boy will mess around here and do something. Boy, you better hold up. Hey, so Chris, if you do it, you got to do it right. That's what we're talking about. Um, Ananiah, I see you right there, and Tony Campbell is there. Sherrod has been right on, patient. My sister is on. Emmett is also on. I'm going to review, because we're getting a slow start. I want to review the acts of faith. I think it was important, but I want you to think tonight about the word transition. Even now, as we're talking about pregnancy and fatherhood, what we're really talking about are transitions from the thing we were to the thing that we're becoming or are, from the way we used to be to the way we are now. It's a process and it takes time. Transition is a part of the process that takes time. Some of us are still struggling with the transition process. And I just want to spend a few minutes tonight just kind of talking about, thinking through the completeness of transition. And then how do you know when you're done? How do you know when you're on the other side? Richard was just saying that he was admitting that when he first came home from prison after 18 or 19 years, that there was a question as to whether or not he was going to even be able to step up to the plate and transition successfully. And that's a legitimate question. And I would struggle with somebody who didn't have that question on his mind. Yet the question is really what drives the behavior, because the question lingers until your actions prove that the question is no longer solvent for you. Mhm. Anyway, watch this. We're going to go back to the acts of faith. Does anybody else have it that could read it, or no? Okay.
was it emailed to us?
Yeah, it was.
Uh,
But
I could open it up and read it if you want.
that's okay. It's in the notes.
I got something I want to say if it's possible.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, regarding transition, um, I made a transition to Madison, and
Go ahead.
when I got here, now I have to make another transition because they said for me to do my CDL course thing, I had to transfer my license to Wisconsin, and
Right.
so I've just come to find out more that I have to go get my birth certificate to do it. So now I have to order my birth certificate, wait for that to come through. And then I have to go through the transition and let them know I got my birth certificate, then get my license switched over, and then I start my course on my way to get my truck to start drive truck. So that's another big transition within the transition.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm learning to adjust to it, and it's working out pretty good.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, man. And you and your girl are doing all right?
Yes, I've been going fishing a lot.
Uh-oh. And that's good for the soul, man.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
relaxing.
that's good.
The
That's
good
good.
thing is it's helped me become a more responsible person because of her. Like I take her sons out and teaching them how to fish and do
Mm.
things too. It's a good thing.
No, that's a beautiful thing, Chris, and that's a great report to give because what you're doing with them is transitioning them. You get it from where
Yeah.
they were to a place where they can go after their own food. That's a much
Yeah.
bigger dynamic than just the fish, but it's a concept for life. You feel me? So
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Rashad, do you have the reading?
No, I looked on my
Okay, that's
email.
all right. That's okay. Oh, here
Yeah, it
we go.
wasn't.
Here we go. At a time when unity is so desperately needed, it is significantly lacking. Misunderstandings about basic philosophical differences place people on opposite poles. Competition for perceived limited resources separate people along racial, social, and gender lines. The need to be right and feel supported separates us from those who hold different views and opinions. I'm going to read that again because sometimes we suffer from that. Uh, because some of the things that you were right about in prison that were survival skills for that time are not necessarily transferable to this time. And where you were right about them then, they may be dead wrong now. And you have to think about which of the things that you learned in prison are applicable in an adult, law-abiding world. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yep.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
think
Oh, hold up. Our internal obstacles and external oppositions create a debilitating conflict that limits the coming together of people of the world. If each of us would take the time to examine our feelings, my God, we would see that they are right too. The nature, experiences, and perceptions of individuals help mold the ideals that they hold. If we could remember and respect this right for everyone, we could avoid open confrontations. Open confrontations. There are so many causes and issues in the world and so many ways to approach them. It is unlikely we will all agree on one way. Unity does not mean we will all believe in or do the same thing. It means we will all agree to do something without battling over how and why. All roads lead to the end. That's the acts of faith.
mm,
All roads lead to the end. I want you to think about that reading in terms of transition. And James Reason, I'm going to call on you right there to pick us up.
Right. The one thing that is sort of a repeated commentary about transition is that if there's one thing that we can depend on, it'll be that things are going to change.
Yes.
Uh, Recently, I'm going through a big transition still right now
Talk
because
about that.
I was prepared to submit a resignation, and my employer came to me with a separation scenario
Mm,
that kind of beat me to the punch with better benefits and everything that I would have experienced if I would have submitted the resignation.
right.
However, one of the biggest benefits of all was to be able to set my own terms, conditions, and directions as I would prompt and cue everything. But
Right.
now, since, like I said, they beat me to the punch, although it's a good thing that they did, I'm stuck still generating my agendas
Right.
uh, at because they set a timeline. So what one thing I'm getting out of transition is that as many of the transitions of life that we can really direct, I feel that as a person, whoever the individual is, if they are directing and implementing the timing and the transition themselves, I feel that there's a better sense of security, confidence, and know how to build that agenda versus it's action or reaction. And right
Right.
now, they put me in reaction mode, And either way, it would have been ended up probably being more than what I really anticipated, because I've been just an employee worker, even though I got a chance to build my own agendas lots of times.
Right.
But when you're really on a company's time, it's different than being on your own.
That's
Is
good.
what I discovered.
And
You take
let me
complete
just
ownership.
offer something to James. I think what he just shared is so important because, you know, James and I are in the same age bracket, and what he's suggesting is that the company that he had given so much of his self to, I want you to hear this. He had given, say given.
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 Yeah. I want you to hear that. He had given so much of himself to this particular company that and now that a transition time has occurred, part of him is okay with the fact that they they transitioned him without him transitioning himself, which came out better. But the other part of it is the emotional part is, how do I feel about the investment I have made in this company over a period of 20 years or 22 years or so? How do I feel about letting that go? And to me, that is the greatest struggle, James, that I hear in you as a man from our time, is that the appreciation for your giving doesn't match whatever the severance package was. And now you are left in some ways with managing the emotional quotient, the EQ of the matter versus the IQ of the matter. IQ meaning intelligence quotient, EQ being emotional quotient. Just to throw something to you that you might not know, the heart actually transmits more information to the mind than the mind transitions to the heart. And so because of that, we have to deal with the lingering feelings of rejection, or with leaving it over to somebody else, of not feeling like Michael Jordan, that I should be able to go for number 7, right? I should be able to go for
True.
number 8, but not having, listen, but not having the opportunity to go for that. Has, even now he's a billionaire, but even as he's a billionaire, the emotional quotient of it is not satisfied.
I just heard it.
Very, very,
571
very good
74.
points, man. And to have it just all of a sudden just get dropped on you like that, not by you, but by the scenario, uh, left left me, like I said, in reactive mode,
Mhm.
better more than active mode, where I was queuing up everything. Everything started coming at me instead of me going at everything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that bit about, your emotional, your heart transmitting a lot of feelings to your brain. You never know what's in there until it starts coming.
Ooh,
And in my
that's so,
case, man,
that's so
for
good.
like, I told several people that, after 20 years, a company becomes like your second home. And
Absolutely.
then we all know there's no place like home. So
Right.
all of a sudden,
But
my second
James,
home is
but,
just
but
like
let me hold you
up
right
in
there.
smoke.
Let me hold you right
Yep.
there, because I like that. I like that as a point of transition for this discussion, because we got uh, Rashad and Richard transitioning into fatherhood for the first time. Beautiful things. We have Chris now is trying to be in a successful relationship, a committed relationship. A committed relationship means that you're not looking around for something else that you can hit. I'm just telling the truth. That you just have decided, I'm gonna come home after work, or I'm gonna stick this out and see what the fruit of my labor would be. Uh, that is an important transition. It's you, Chris, trying to come out of being an adolescent and becoming an all true man, a full blown man. Does that make sense?
Hey, Pop.
Yeah. And now watch this. I want to share something with everybody. I'm gonna open it up. I feel an anointing on me tonight. I don't know what it is. Somebody's gonna get something tonight. I can tell you that. I want to tell you a quick story. This is something I read years ago. It made such an impact on me. There was a passenger airplane. This is a real story about a real person. The airplane was full of passengers. It had a very skilled pilot at the helm. And then they had an intern, right? Say an intern.
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 They had an intern as the co-pilot. He had never taken off a plane. He had never landed a plane. He was going through his internship. He was learning what the process was. Amen. But watch this now. As they're going in to their particular destination, this very experienced pilot just keels over in his seat and is dead. Now
Dead.
the plane is full of passengers. The pilot is dead and can't respond. The intern, say intern,
Intern.
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 intern there, listen, he picks up the microphone like his training has taught him. The stewardess and them helped him to pull the pilot back from off of the throttle. And he calls out to the control tower, Mayday, Mayday, we have an emergency here. Listen to this. Have you ever had an emergency? Boy, I'm just talking good tonight. I'm just tickling myself here. But watch this. Have you ever had an emergency where you just had to call out a mayday? And even sometimes you had an emergency, but you was too proud to call a mayday because you hadn't transitioned well enough to know that you need somebody's help. But watch this. You got to cut that down so it'll reverberate. But watch this. Watch this. Look, look, look.
You shut that door,
So the
dude.
intern in the plane says, Mayday!
Shut the door.
Oh, God. Now, watch this carefully. And so the voice, say the voice,
The
Voice.
voice.
the voice on the other end says, calm down. Let me talk you through it.
Mm.
Preach.
And so sometimes with us, Emmett,
I had a mayday.
when we don't have an idea, we don't know how to guide our own plane. We have a ship to guide. It's called the Good Life ship. We have a ship to guide, Richard, and we don't necessarily know how to guide the ship, but we are too proud and not ready to transition well enough to shout, it's Mayday.
Mm.
And in that call for a Mayday, you need somebody who has been down the line of life. That's an old railroad term. That's from my time. Down the line. Somebody that's been down the line of life who knows a little bit more about the situation than you do that you're facing right now. You ain't the only one that ever faced a crisis. You're not the only one that ever went through anything. You're not the only person that got caught up at somebody else's
Preach,
place
preach,
at
preach.
somebody else's time. You're not the only one. But I'm telling you, if you don't know how to shout, if you don't know how to call out for a mayday, if you don't know how to ask for somebody to talk me through the situation I find myself in, I'm telling you, you will not be able to land your plane successfully. The good life will escape you again. You will be back where you were the last time we had this conversation. And I'm saying to you now, with all my heart, listen, you have to be able to transition and call for help. Somebody say help in this place.
Help.
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 You remember the little lady, on the commercial? She said, "Help! I've fallen."
I can't get up.
And some of you, wait a minute, some of y'all have fallen too, and you could get up, and if you just holler out, you would get up, but you just laid there. And say, you don't never drown because you fall in the water, Ananiah. You drown because you stayed there.
Right.
Now we got some things. Whew,
Pop.
we got
How
some
you doing,
things.
Shane?
Hey, who's that? Who's that right there?
Chris,
Hey, Chris, what's going on?
I just hopped on. So,
Good. Well, I
Pops.
want to show you
hey,
something.
what's going on, brother Shane?
Hey, who's that?
Kevin. And
Um,
I'm on there too, Pop.
I see you. I see you. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna stop there for a minute and just take some feedback from y'all that are out there. Somebody, holler out.
Pops.
Montez, holler out.
Pops.
Yeah, hold up.
Okay.
Franco, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, what you got?
I'm almost home. I'm just taking a walk around my neighborhood.
All right, Rashad, you go.
I was gonna say, going back to your points about the reading, the acts of faith, and how about what was the key word? The
Transition.
transition. Yeah, transition.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking about all the transitions that we're all having to make, be they, in the workplace with our kids. It's a
Absolutely.
whole world is going through a transition, but
Absolutely.
and transition change scares a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are scared. That's really what the greatest fear is change, the unknown, right?
Mm.
But as I sat here and I thought about what that word meant, it really just means transition. Just means is the opportunity for evolution, right?
Mm.
And evolution is what keeps us alive to begin with.
Mm.
So your ability to transition successfully, although it may be scared, to just calm down and like look at the situation, not right now, and just look at the situation, will help you evolve through it and turn it into something more positive. You know what I'm saying? And that's I mean, I'm going through it at work. We all are going through it in various situations in our lives with kids on the way, with kids we're trying to raise at home now. You know what I'm saying? At the end of it, I see a divine opportunity to evolve into something greater. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what transition should do.
That's a good point, and let me grab you right there. And Rashad, that's a good point. And what I really like about your point was the vicissitudes of transition are different. Some of us are still trying to just stay out of the penitentiary. Some of us still trying to get one foot in and one foot out. Some of us have gotten into one job, but we're stuck there now. And we're too afraid to go out and look for another opportunity in spite of COVID. Some people are really hiring. Tierra is over here right now with job leads and all that kind of stuff, but you won't say nothing. You're going without a job. Other people are transitioning from being single to being a couple or being married. That's a huge transition, right? Single people are naturally overtly concerned about themselves, and a lot of times in a transition, you won't be able to use it because you get reverb. So you have to go in another room. So you watch this. Watch this. A lot of times, people in married scenarios haven't gotten over their own singleness. And so what happens in that marriage scenario is that singleness is not dead yet. And then now you're trying to be in a marriage or in a committed relationship, but try to act like you're single. And those two things don't go together. Okay. Um, we had a brother just this weekend, to give you an example of what I'm talking about. I won't mention his name right now. He's not online, but he should be.
Mm.
Right? Because see now, okay, yeah, let me just so anyway, he calls up with a Mayday.
All
Pop
right.
says, Pop, my wife put me out. The police came. I called them. She's throwing my clothes out. They both names are on the lease, but she's on the other side of reason. That's what the reading was about, right? And so he calls up with a Mayday saying, "Look, Pop, I just need some place to lay my head and try to get my thinking together." And I was feeling that. I was challenged by his situation, but we let him come over to Pop One and spend the weekend,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And and you know, and then I ended up having to talk with his wife and trying to see if I could get both sides of the story or I could be at all helpful. And in some ways, I guess that was helpful because he was able to get his druthers and gone back home. Now I haven't heard from him since he got back home, because a lot of times we don't respect, our resources well enough to honor the work it goes into having them. For instance, online right now, there are 15 or 17 people. Each one of you are individuals. And I know each one of you, I know the little things about each one of you that you don't know about each other. Because your job is to make it for yourself and transition yourself. But my job is to know a little bit about you to help you when you have a Mayday, and a little bit about everybody, not just the 16 people that are on here, but we got about a 60-man caseload, and there's not one of them that I can't call an individual idiosyncrasy about, because my job is to make sure that if, just in case you have a Mayday, that if you make the call, that somebody can help talk you through it.
Hallelujah.
Preach then, Bob. Preach. I hear you.
Now watch this right here. And I enjoy it. I love the fact that I get to know the people who I come to work with and come to love as family. And I have grown myself by allowing me the opportunity to get to know you. You have grown me, and I have become bigger than I was if I would have just been trying to do it by myself.
Ooh-wee. Do what you do, Pop. I like that.
But I'm going to tell you right now, look at this. I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes we put our cart before our horse. Watch this now. Watch this. I got teaching on me right now, though. You got to bear with me. I got this thing on me right now. Just bear with me. I know you want to say something. Just hold it for 1 second.
All right, Brother Shane.
What's that? Who was that?
Kevin.
Kevin McGee?
No. Brother Wayne's friend.
Okay.
Came with Lola.
Okay, I got you. Just hold up. I got you. Watch this. I want to go to a particular scripture. This is something that makes my point better than I can make it. It's in the book of Samuel. Samuel chapter 9, verse 1. I just want to read a couple of verses here. I need you to just stay with me now. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you again. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 9, verse 1. It says, there was a Benjamite man. Benjamites mean men of God. A man of standing, whose name was Kish. Kish, the son of Abel. Abel, the son of Zahor, the son of Bakah, the son of Achiah, the son of Benjamin. He had a son named Saul, an impressive young man without equal among the Israelites, head and shoulders above everybody else. He was a tall man. He was a handsome man, head and shoulders above everyone else. Watch this now. Watch this. Now, the donkeys, the asses that belonged to Saul's father were lost. Saul is getting ready to be anointed the king. Watch this. He's getting ready to be, say king.
King.
Say the good life.
The good
Good
life.
The good life.
Saul is getting ready to have the good life at the highest level laid in his lap. But watch this. His father Kish says, now the asses belonging to Saul's father Kish were lost. And Kish said to his son Saul, the great Saul, he says, take one of the servants with you and go out and look for my asses. Wait a minute now.
Look for my asset.
Listen, so he passed through a few towns, and he looked hard for the asses, and he looked everywhere he could go to find the asses, but he couldn't find these asses. Now he's supposed to be great. He's looking for the good life. And these asses are baffling him. And sometimes when we're after something that's valuable, we're getting ready to step into something that's important. We're getting ready to get into the good life. Sometimes we be chasing asses and we can't find our way where we're supposed to really be going.
All right.
And sometimes there's some people here on the screen right now. Oh, I love you though. But watch this. I'm telling you, so busy chasing asses that you have lost your focus on what you are trying to do. You don't have a place to stay. You don't have a job like you're supposed to. You don't have any money like you're supposed to have. You got a job, but you can't save nothing. You're supposed to be down the line, but you're too busy chasing asses. Oh, God.
He's preaching, Pop.
But I guess I'm asking you this question. At some point, somebody say at some point.
At some point.
Yeah, I don't hear enough of you. I'm scaring you. I'm shocking you through this Zoom or whatever we on. Don't be afraid. I'm just trying to help you though. Yeah. Somebody knows about looking for them asses. And I'm telling you, the asses are never where you look for them at.
No.
Donkeys got their own mind. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But see, now you got to remember, you are transitioning
I hear you. I hear you.
from one place to another, from yesterday to the day, right? And from this job to the next. These are the things that you have to be warily concerned about, is that you keep your focus correct on the good life that has been promised to you. Why would your father let you out of the hell you said you was in, and you know you prayed for, even if you didn't admit to nobody else that you was praying, and now you are out of the place of hell where you said you wanted to be, and the only thing you can think to do with all your heart is chase asses.
Amen.
I hear you, Pop. I feel you too, because I know I'm doing a transition, and I feel you.
Yes, me too.
Who was that?
Hey, Pop.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to just speak because I know I'm in that transition that we're talking about, and I got some things going for me, and I'm doing better than where I was, man. I feel better, my health's better, and I'm doing better, man. Right. And that's because I was doing the right thing. I was on the right track. I was doing the things that you showed me how to get to this other life, you know. And right now, man, I'm in a 3-bedroom house. Man, I feel so good. I'm by myself. Only thing I can think about is I kept on doing the good things that I'm supposed to do, and look how it turned out for me. Yeah, this transition I'm in right now, man, is the life that I wanted to live, and I'm there. I appreciate everything that you gave me to go on, Pop.
Hold on right there. That's Calvin calling from down in Mississippi. Y'all should give him a little hand right there for calling up.
I'm still a Pop guy. I don't care where I'm at.
Yeah, that's right. And is Herbert Kelly on?
Huh?
Okay, I was thinking Herbert might be on from Arkansas. But listen, what I want to tell you. Somebody else jump in. Cal, hold up.
All right.
See, for me, Pop, without living the good life, I'd be doing the same thing over and over again as I was used to or accustomed to and whatnot. Can you guys hear me?
No, we hear you fine. Is that say all what you got to say?
So, I'm living a good life right now, and Shane and the Power People brothers have showing me love in so many different ways that has been very impactful. And I'm so much in touch with myself and focused on myself and trying to help so many people in need, and still maintaining my focus on myself and getting myself together. I just had my active college board treatment just today. And if I wasn't saying what I'm doing and doing and practicing what power people have taught me and shown me got to do to live the good life, I would have never passed my calling in the first place.
Yeah,
And I feel so good about myself.
and you should feel good, Chris. And let me just say to everybody who didn't completely hear what Chris said, is Chris said that he's trying to complete his treatment, and part of that is to pass the polygraph test. And so today, Chris passed his polygraph test, and now he's getting ready to move on to the next level. Give him some love.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, Chris. Because
Yeah.
when I met Chris, he was still looking for them donkeys, and now he's on another page, and I love that about him, and I really appreciate that. Somebody else jump in. Dexter, what you
Okay,
got?
I
Rhea,
got
what you
some.
got?
Pop, I'm blessed, man. You know, I appreciate everything you told me. Like, you know, I done been through some things in life. I got in the water. I didn't stay in the water. You know, I got a good woman by my side. We'll be getting married soon when the corona stuff is over with. And,
Right.
you know, I like helping others, you know, and I like being an example, showing people that this could be done. All the stuff I've been through, you know, and then just showing the love that all you guys have showed me, you know, going through my hardships and stuff is just a beautiful thing. My hands go
Yeah.
up to the pop guys.
Yeah, Dex. What do you have a date or no?
No, we waiting now because it was gonna be August the 23rd, but since this is going on, we're just gonna try to figure it out. But I'm gonna let everybody know for sure. Let
That's
everybody know ahead
beautiful,
of
man.
time.
The committed relationship.
Listen
Hey,
here.
Sherrod, what you got?
I'm just man, you know, I'm still on that act of faith. You know,
Go ahead.
you know, it reminds me of a little phrase about anybody, nobody, everybody. Anybody could have did the job, but nobody wanted to step into it when it was everybody's
What is
job.
that talking in the
And
background?
it it it's it's detrimental that we stay focused on well, I stay focused on what I'm trying to do and keep it moving, you know, and try to make every situation a good situation. As I always said, you know, out of everything bad is something good. So we just trying to stay motivated and um, keep 10 toes down, man, and just try to maneuver through this life and make family first and just try to keep my mind together and stay on the narrow path.
Okay. Hey, somebody got too much background noise in their phone. I think it's Cal, but I'm not sure. You got to cut that background. Now just mute your phone when you're not
I
talking.
don't know, Pastor. Is that me?
That
Did you
was
hear that
you.
noise still?
That was. Now I see it. Now it's all clear now. So you got to keep your
Okay.
line clear. We pick up all of that background noise, but that's all right. Rhea, do
All
you have
right.
something?
Yes.
What is
Okay. I just wanted to say hi, Pop brothers. Um.
Gee.
So now I'm you know I'm transitioning from a sober living house to my own apartment, and it's been a
Woo-wee.
long run. My brother
Oh,
Duran,
good grief.
but I still got 2 weeks, and it seemed like this is the longest 2 weeks of my life. But before my birthday, and it's a long story. But on my birthday, I'll be able. They'll get me right in and give me some subsidized housing, and
Wow.
that's great. But the transition thing, is it start when the good life is coming
Mm.
and the good things are coming, it starts to get real salty around you. You know what I'm saying? And everybody got something to knock you off your square. Because just like we used to say in prison, we're short and shitty. Well, that's what I am right now, and I'm trying to do positive things to keep keep my life going on the straight and narrow and helping out other people until I can get into my own place, and then it's another here go another chapter. Then I'm gonna have to look forward to something else. But now I'm looking forward to this, and I'm feeling good about it, and I'm trying to stay to myself and just meditate on the things that I need to do. So
Give her a little hand right there.
That's good. That's good.
Um,
Hey,
That's good.
sis, that's a
I
good. I
got
mean,
some.
that's a
Hey,
good
Ray.
praise report. Somebody else go.
Hey, sister, pop, sister. When you get ready, let me know. I don't want my two couches. I got a leather lazy boy and a leather love seat. You can have it. I'm not gonna take that with me. I'm gonna go brand new when I move. So let me
All
know
right.
when you're ready.
Oh, see, look
But
at
thank
won't
there.
be
That
far
I
away.
like
I'm gonna
that.
give it to you.
That's some top stuff right there. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good news. And then another thing, we're gonna have Wayne to sign us back up with bridging, so that we are able to use bridging for everybody. RIA, and not just RIA, but everybody else who's transitioning into another place.
Bridging in the house.
Bridging is in the house, and so what?
Yeah.
Montez, why don't you go ahead?
Um. So, the one thing earlier from the reading is what that stands out to me is the unity part of not everybody doing the same thing, but everybody making an effort to reach a common goal.
Right.
That really resonates with me, and it puts a lot of things into perspective. You know what I mean? That not everybody has to do the same thing. I don't have to do the same thing as everybody else. Just we talked about relationships, specifically in a relationship. We don't have to do the same thing, but just be committed to moving forward and trying to reach our common goal, which I see the strength in. So I appreciated that. And then the other thing that stood out for me is just like transition and change and the good life. There's sometimes in my daily journey, where I feel good, and there's times when I don't feel good. There's times when I feel happy, there's times when I feel angry, and I think that it's okay to have all of those emotions, the cry for help, the mayday, the being able to ask for help. I think that is our probably one of our greatest, gifts that we can give ourselves, to be able to say, hey, I'm not okay. To
Right.
be able to say, hey, I need some help. Hey, everything's not going okay. This is what happened, or this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I'm feeling, And so for me, just being able to, have that, understand that every day is not going to be the best day, but my common goal is to make steps towards living the good life. And so with that, that, the people I depend on, the sources of information that I receive, meetings like this, personal talks with persons such as yourself, Pops, just all of that stuff I'm dependent on, because, without that I don't, without that I'm not the same me, or I'm not the version of me that operates and
Yeah.
fires on my best qualities and characteristics if I
Right.
don't rely on somebody, something. At the same time I have my independence, but being dependent on both things, myself and others, for a source of knowledge, for a source of nourishment, for a source of health, for a source of well-being. I need all of those things to keep me on the good life, because not every day is going to be a success. Not every day is going to be roses and sunshine and everything like that. And it's really, working through those things to get to that mindset that says, hey, my common goal is blank, in that sense of unity, reaching something greater than myself.
Right.
So those are the things that stood out for me.
Well, and I mean, and you were excellent in explanation and in articulation. I appreciate that. And you've come a long ways, and you're transitioning now into this notion of fatherhood, and what does it feel like now for you to take on the responsibility of fathering your own children? What does that feel like for you?
It has its own struggles as well. Montes Jr. is 17 years old, and sometimes he's a hardhead, sometimes he's a knucklehead, sometimes he says things like, "Why are you talking to me like that?" And I'm looking at him like, "Boy, excuse me." But overall, unity, common goals. I told him, I said, what you're talking about right now is the small picture. I'm trying to look at the larger picture with you. I want you to be a successful young man. Let's concentrate on getting your schoolwork done so you can graduate on time. And
Yeah.
that's a realistic goal right now. And that was not a realistic goal when we started this journey out, when I
Wow.
wasn't able to be a parent, you know. And also with my stepson Antonio, he's not able to enroll until June. However, he's 20 years old and he hasn't been dedicated to his schoolwork. But now he's looking at a real shot to be able to graduate once he does
Yeah.
start. Still
Yeah.
graduating this year because the school that we go to graduates twice a year. And he also got a job at the place that I volunteer and am a part of, the Aliveness Project. He got a job part-time in the food shelf, and so that's going to count towards some credits and everything too. And so in this fathering role, you know, not every day is perfect.
Yeah.
However, the common goal to do, you know, something that's greater than ourselves exists, and it comes out in ways of love. It comes out in ways of patience and kindness and not reacting in the way that I want to react sometimes when my son says, "Who you talking to like that?" You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
it's a
Right.
journey, you know, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, I mean, and you know, you come into this role at the most critical time for young boys who are, you know, boys of color who are between the ages of say 14 and 23, 24, even up to 30. These guys are so vulnerable in so many different ways. Uh, their minds won't allow them to see the danger that exists in the dynamics of the environmental box. And so
Yes, and
you have to be so aware of planting seeds. Everything that you say, they might not look like they're paying attention to because that doesn't feel like the way they want to respond, and they're still not used to you being fully present. But
yes,
everything you put out there in that ground is seed, and that seed will take root, and some of that seed is going to grow out and become a flower. You keep on speaking positivity, but at the same time, you have to do positive. You can't say one thing and then live another way. You've got to demonstrate that you can walk the talk, and in that dynamic is a transition for you.
yes,
Again, not to be chastened, but to be steadfast and protecting what you have, the interest that you already have. Boy, that's good teaching right there.
yes, yes,
Somebody,
yes. And
Ananiah,
yes,
jump in. Ananiah, can't hear you, son.
I got some real quick, Shay. Um, um, when I was listening to my son, he was saying that every day is not going to be roses and sunshine. But I've learned in the last year that if there's more days that sunshine and less days that it's not, then that means you're doing the right thing.
Wow, that's good, honey. That's a good point. Ananiah, you there?
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Speaking about transition, uh, well, I'm thinking about I'm going to make this transition as soon as my credit score hits another 2 points.
Uh,
Another 2 points, my credit score says I'm gonna make this transition and go ahead and look into getting that duplex.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Come on, come on.
Mhm. So I really have been in my mind focusing on property ownership, equity, um, something that I can leave my children's children. You know,
Right.
and it's kind of been
A
my main
population
focus.
has been
So much
completed.
so that I have not even bought any new clothes. I have not bought any new anything. You
Yeah,
know, so I've just been really frugal and smart, and I'm not chasing. I'm being patient,
yeah.
biding my time, staying healthy, and yeah. So this transition is like I noticed that I go through transitions. I go through these small transitions on a regular basis. Uh, like at the job, for instance. There's we have so many people coming in and out because we do so much business that
Uh-huh.
we had to change the way we do things.
Right.
So some days I'll have to man those individuals who come into the place. Other days, other coworkers, man. Um, a coworker of mine today, he left early today because he found out that his wife's grandmother caught the virus. He got the call from his wife. He got the call from his wife, so he left early today. Brother named Tarek, he's from Ghana. He's a real good brother. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep I'm definitely gonna keep them in my prayers.
Right.
But I'm making these little small transitions
Is
on
she
a
in
regular basis.
America or is she in Africa?
No, she's here. It's his wife's grandmother.
Okay.
So his wife is from here. So
Okay.
yeah, it's here, and she's very fond of her grandmother, and he knows that. So he said, I need to go home and console my wife, and I understand that.
Right. You know,
Yeah,
and I love what you said. You know, that let's just focus for 1 second on property ownership. Um,
yeah,
Now, so for the rest of the folks that are online that aren't there yet, this is really a note of encouragement to you because here's another one of your own, like John Vang, like Willie Lloyd, and now Ananiah is at that place uh, where home ownership is becoming closer to a reality, and that is a transition. I was talking with Will about it, and he said something to me that I think is worth repeating. He said, "Pop, you know, the house has got its own voice,"
mm,
and he said, "You know, and now I'm actually rising up to the level of the
here,
house's voice."
yeah,
And he gave a small example. He said, you know, when we were in our apartment, you know, we didn't always eat at the table or, you know, we didn't always make that a point of order. But now that they have a formal dining room, oh my God. Okay, wait, man, you can't be chasing asses if you want to get if you want a formal dining room, you know, you got to get over some things. Yeah.
right.
And so wait a minute now. So wait a minute. He done got to the place here. Wait a minute. And he passed through that territory. I'm just saying. But now you can pass through something and don't have to stay there. But look, he said now when we have dinner, we have it in the formal dining room because that's the way it's supposed to be. Ah,
Right.
somebody say pop guy on three, 1, 2, 3.
Pop
Pop
guy.
guy.
Hop guy.
Yeah. Y'all didn't say that loud enough for me. Don't hate. You know,
That's
don't
right.
hate. Don't, look, because yeah, this is you. I'm talking about you. You don't even understand.
Yeah.
This is prophecy. Say prophecy.
Property.
Yeah. They're not only selling to him, they're not only selling to John Vang, they're selling to you. To be quite honest with you, right now is a good time to buy Ananiah because the cost of houses have gone down about $20,000 per, and the cost of borrowing money has gone down. So you can get the money
Yeah.
cheaper than you could just about 5 or 6 months ago. I don't hear nobody in here.
Can hear me?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
look, I can't wait for you for this time for you, and
Yeah.
just like we said way back in prison so many years ago, Richard McLemore, we sat down. Look, me and Richard would sit down in the gymnasium of Faribault Prison and just talk for a few minutes. And while the student teachers were conducting the class on my behalf, it gave me an opportunity to have one-on-one time and fellowship time with my student teachers and others who I was trying to mentor and nurture through the process. And then look, here we are on the other side, like we said before. You can say a whole bunch of things
Yes.
about me, this and that, but you can't say that I told you a lie.
That's right.
Right.
Not one of you can say it.
That's right.
Preach.
No.
Now
Can't say it.
I'm just going to tell you now. You know, at a point, if you're going to be a point of confluence, there's some things that you have to get over, including yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And,
I
and, to,
think that's the most important.
and to the extent that you're able to get over yourself, it's also to that extent you begin to relate to your partner or to your wife. And to that extent, you become stronger in the places where
Yeah,
you were
boy.
broken before and couldn't heal on your own.
All right.
So watch this now. Wait a minute. I want to make sure I'm getting everybody in here. Richard McLemore, come on back in.
Hey, Pop, when you ready for me, I'm here.
Oh, hold up. I know you ready. Hold up. Richard, you there? Tony Campbell, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What you got?
Well, I mean, when you spoke on the transition, that kind of hit home with me because
Yeah.
coming out of Chicago and coming to Minnesota, I drastically had to make a transition because I kept my hand in the cookie jar in Chicago. So when I got here, I had to learn to adjust. It
No,
took a minute.
I'm
I
about to
bumped
be.
my head, but once
And
I adjusted, the transition took place. And I couldn't ask for a better thing. It's something that you said many years ago. You said that when you plant your seed in different soil, it shall
So we
harvest.
living a good life now.
And that is the transition that I made coming in here, and I planted my seed and it harvested. I became a father. I'm a role model. My daughter loves me. I'm looked up to. I'm a hero. I'm an absolute hero to this child. And I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. When it comes to that, man, you still got some work to do. But when it comes to you and that girl, man, you are number one. And I
Thanks.
really like that. You are Michael Jordan to that girl. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
love how y'all do together, man. And I love the times that we've been able to spend as a unit, cherishing our children. And that time is going to come for Richard and his son and Rashad and his son. And I mean, I can't wait for the time. Y'all see, I've been catching up to the guy behind me, right?
I see you.
But I ain't there yet. And
If
so
we
I'm
could all be
waiting
so
out
lucky.
now so I can help grandparent your sons and your daughters, because I want to make sure that the seed doesn't fall short at the root. I want it to get to the fruit.
All
Watch
right.
this. Somebody else
Hey,
Emmett,
Pop.
what you got? Emmett, get in. I'll come to you, Rashad.
How y'all doing? It's been a while.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
brother.
transition to me, listening to everybody, and I've been through a major transition.
All right.
When y'all speak on the good life, there's the positive good life and the negative good life. And
No,
I
no,
had
no, 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 no. Stop. There's only the good life. And the negative life is not good. It's just negative. And I don't want you to confuse those two in your explanation. I'm sorry. I have to stop you right there. The
okay,
good life
well,
is by itself and can't be confused with nothing else. Now go.
okay, well, I was living a good life, but negative parts of my life conflicted
Right.
with the good life,
Yes, sir.
and I lost track of myself,
Mm.
and because of a lot of things just changed in my life. I shut a lot of people down. It's in and out of jail. Uh, Not working now. My job shut down. It just, I was doing a good transition, but I lost the positive influences,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I could do it on my own, and and I try to remember what everybody has said to me and all the things I learned when I was in group, but negative influences, you know, came on strong,
Mm.
and it started surrounding me, and it's just I made bad choices.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't that I can't get back to where I was.
Right.
I just have to stay focused and stay around positive people, and and I have to pick my battles.
Right.
And when I make my mind up on something, I have to stick to it and never second guess myself.
Right. Somebody give
So
him some feedback. Hold up, Emmett. Somebody give him some feedback.
Well, when you keep your eyes on the prize, you'll never fail. I had put in my mind that my mind was made up that I'm not going back. So I said, in order for me not to go back, I got to stay on a straight, narrow path. And that was being chemically free because every time that we pick up, we're throwing bricks at the penitentiary. So by me being clean, I have defeated the devil. You stay clean, you'll stay out the joint and you'll be in the right path. Things
Stop
have
right there.
changed in
Stop
your
right
life.
there. Stop right there. Stop right there. Now, that was a good word for you, Emmett, because you and chemicals, have had an unhealthy love affair.
Right.
And somehow, wait a minute, somehow you believe that when you're doing good, you can drink.
Yeah.
And some people, Emmett, my sister right here, she's on the line with you. Some people, they just can't even have one drink. It just the chemical imbalance, the rush of sugar and all these chemicals, they just take over your system, man, and then you can't stop yourself. And
Well,
so,
hey, Pop,
how old are you now, Emmett?
Huh?
How old are you?
45.
45. Well, see,
hey,
now you're at a place, my goodness, at 45, look at, I want you to go back here and think about what I was telling you in the very beginning of our conversation. I'm getting ready to close this off. I was talking to you about this very real scenario. And this is something that actually happened. There was a pilot, a healthy pilot, an experienced pilot, and piloting a jumbo jet, a major airline, and brought along as in the cockpit with him an intern. The intern was training to become a pilot, but he had never taken off, never landed. All he had ever done was operate in the video realm of it. You get it? And so the pilot falls over on the throttle dead, and the stewardess and the little intern get and pull him back up off the throttle, and here's the intern shouting, Emmett, "Mayday! Mayday." See, that's what you don't never shout. You disappear when you're getting high, and you don't want to come around because you're too ashamed. But don't you know everybody on this call right now, it got way higher than you ever got, and then you messing around here thinking you're the only one, man. Look, I'm just saying, look here, man. You might as well take up out of that, man. Everybody on here, we all been through it. Every
right.
one of us had to decide to put it down and call Mayday. Hey, Mayday, Pop, somebody call.
Mayday.
Yes, sir.
But look here, watch this now. So wait a minute.
We all fall.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So on the other side of the intercom, a very calm voice gets on and says, "Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. All you have to do is listen at what I'm going to tell you,
Ooh-wee.
and you'll be just fine. Let me talk you through it."
Preach.
Man.
And so in this
Wow.
particular flight,
I'm doing it. Man.
listen to this. Listen to this. The intern, he could be scared and want a drink, but right at that particular time, there's so much on the line. His own life is on the line. He can't be afraid, and a drink won't help.
Hallelujah.
What you have to do is listen at what the voice is telling you. You have to listen intently on what is the voice telling me. And somehow they told him, turn 30 degrees to the west, go down 6 or 8 knots, ease back on the throttle, follow the yellow lines. Now let down your landing gear. Oh my God.
All
Preach.
right.
Preach.
Wait a minute. Let down, Emmett. You're 45 now, man. If you don't mess around here, you're going to be 70 still wondering what you could have done. You ain't no baby no more. Come on, and this ain't no, I'm not criticizing you. I've been where you at. I drank everything they had. I snorted everything they had. I smoked everything you could possibly smoke. Shot all kind of dope. Everything you can possibly do, I did it. I'm telling you now. But right now, you're talking to a Mayday. You're talking to the voice of reason. I'm on the other side of the line.
Preach,
I'm telling you now, you can bring this thing on in.
Man.
All right. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Shane,
yeah.
Right.
Ooh,
I
man.
got a comment
Yeah.
on it.
Ooh, wait a
Listen,
minute.
And
Wait,
we
don't say no.
all with
Wait,
you,
wait, wait,
man.
wait, wait. Wait a minute, because I'm landing my plane right now. I ain't in there yet. Wait, but look here. Oh, wait a minute. I feel like teaching tonight, boy. Don't mess with me up in here, right?
right.
This is my house, and I feel comfortable here. Look, watch this.
Yeah, preach it then. Preach
Watch
it.
this. And so, wait a minute. Then, wait a minute, Emmett. Hey, Richard and Rashad, it's time to touch down. Say touchdown.
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 Well, that's what was happening. You know what I mean? When Cece was getting ready to have her baby, you know, it was time for your son, little chicken nuggets, to touch down. And the landing gear was down. Woo! And we was easing that big boy on in, the 13-pound baby, easing him on in. Look, this particular intern saved about 95 passengers and his own life, not because he was such a good pilot. He saved them because he listened at the voice that was inside of his ear. I'm telling you tonight, if you're a pop guy and you're on here, you listen to the voice that's on your ear. You're not retired if the voice don't say it. If the voice says you're still in here, then get ready to get up for your next assignment. If the voice tells you that I'm tired of using that drugs and alcohol, then listen at your voice.
Preach.
Preach.
If the voice tells you I'm tired of chasing asses, then listen at the voice.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Hallelujah.
I, I, I got quick feedback on that.
Oh, come on, son.
I just shared the same message with my brother. My brother's in the hospital right now. That drinking didn't disrupt him. He's got dementia. He don't remember nothing. They just found him. He fell down 2 flights of stairs, unconscious. Some strange people found him, called the paramedic, got him in the hospital. He don't remember nothing. And I'm trying to bring the message to him, but he don't want to hear it. So he shut down. His pilot, his plane is studying flying, but he don't know how to land it.
Ooh,
And he
man.
won't
Oh, I'm so
listen. Like
sorry.
you said,
Boy,
say
that's
he
a
listen
dangerous
to the
message
voice.
right there.
He
And
won't
you know what?
listen to the voice.
You know what?
He
That
won't listen.
somehow, some way, we just gotta send a message in the bottle right now for your brother, and that you know that it ain't over until it's over. You gotta try everything and everything else. It looks dark. It's dark sometimes, but the morning comes, and this is what
Yep.
we're praying for. Where he's concerned is that the morning will finally come. Emmett, that the morning will come for you now. That you don't have to stay hidden in the darkness and be in shame. If you want a job, then call the office and ask for Tierre, and Tierre will begin to help you get back where you need to go. Don't be waiting around on your job to call you back. You know, work them. Get up off that thing, man, and go on and get you another job and let them call and beg you back. You got your body about yourself. You got your wits about yourself. You can call Mayday. There's a number for you to call, and it's always been here. You just been too stubborn and hard-headed and adolescent orientated, hurt and painful from your life of yesterday. But whatever that was that hurt you in your past, man, that's over now. You're the one that's hurting yourself, and you got to stop it, man.
Call me.
You on a
Call me.
suicide watch, and you can't mess around and take your own self out of the game. Man,
Wow.
Woo.
Preach.
Woo.
Man, it's good preaching tonight.
Woo.
Call me
Hallelujah.
in it. Call me.
all right,
I
all
got a
right.
plug.
What a shot at here, son.
That's a message. That's a message we all needed to hear.
That's right.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
Ooh-wee.
Hey, I'm gonna just tell
I
you this,
don't need
man.
to hear that.
We all needed
I
to hear.
love you. I love you so much, man. I don't even know.
Wow.
God gave me a heart for this. It's not me, it's God. God has given me a heart for doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm serious about it, man. You might not be serious about your health and welfare. You might not be serious about your freedom, but don't be playing with me because I'm serious about it.
All right.
Watch this.
Hey, Emmett, I'm right. Oh, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Papa. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go.
Hey, Emmett, I'm right here, man. Do you have a vehicle?
Nuh-uh.
You don't?
Uh,
All right. I wish you had
Let's
a
check with
vehicle, man,
Tierra.
because
Check with Tierra first, and then we'll go
yeah.
back your way.
Okay.
Listen to this, man. Listen at this with me. I want you to repeat after me. I will
I will
I will
balance my family values
balance my
balance my family values
with my goals.
With my
with
goals.
my goals.
I will
I
I
will
I
will
will
exercise wisdom in what I choose to eat,
exercise
exercise wisdom in what I choose to eat,
read, and do.
read and
read and do.
I will
I will
I will
strive to make all relationships
strive to make all
strive to make all
relationships
relationships
win-win
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 deal.
for no deal.
and no deal.
Deal.
I will.
I
I
will
I
will.
will.
Hey, let me just stop right there because right there is, wait a minute, right there in that strive to make all relationships, right there is where sometimes we're chasing asses and we try to get these relationships that ain't nothing but a piece of, you got to let a donkey move. You can't be always chasing after no ass thinking that's somehow going to change your life. You got to buck up and become who you're supposed to be. Stop acting
Ooh-wee.
like a child.
Ain't clown tonight.
Yeah, when
Woo.
I was a child, it says I thought as a child, I spoke as a child, I acted like a child, but when I became a man, then I set
I
aside.
put thousands away.
I set aside them asses and became a man that I'm supposed to be. Come on now here.
Preach it, Pop, preach it.
I will,
I
I will.
will
I will.
under every circumstance,
Under
under
every
Under every
circumstance,
circumstance.
maintain a positive attitude.
maintain a
Maintain a
positive
positive
attitude.
attitude.
I will
I
I
will
will
enjoy my life
enjoy
enjoy
my
my
life
life
with a sense of humor
with
with
a
a
sense
sense
of
of
Humor.
humor
humor
by taking advantage of opportunities
Hey,
while taking
taking
advantage of
advantage
opportunity
of opportunity
and learning from my misfortunes.
and
and
learning
learn
from
from
my
and
my
learning
misfortune.
misfortune.
from my misfortune.
I will
I
I
will
I
will
will
act upon circumstances
act
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 upon
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 circumstances
circumstances
rather than have them act upon me.
rather than
rather
have
than
them
rather
have
act
than have them
upon
act
me.
upon me.
I will
I
I
will
I
will
will
on a daily basis
on
on
a
a
daily
on a
daily
daily
basis
basis
be proactive with my goals.
be proactive
be
with my
proactive
goals.
with my goals.
I will
I
I
will
I
will
will
always protect my wisdom,
always
always
protect
protect
my
always
my
wisdom,
protect my
wisdom,
wisdom,
my health,
My
my
health
health,
my
and
health,
my happiness.
and my
and
and
my
happiness.
my
happiness.
happiness.
I will
I
I
will
will
I will.
stay
I will.
principle centered
stay
stay
principle
principled
Stay
centered
principle center.
and maintain a positive circle of influence.
and
Maintain
maintain a
And
positive
maintain a
circle of
positive
influence.
circle of influence.
Well, I wish I could tell you how important that is right there. Just that one point right there. If you just got somebody that's positive that you can pick up the phone and call a mayday for. It don't have to be me. I want it to be, or Tierra, or call Wayne, or call the office, but there's a whole bunch of pop guys. And if you would just reach out and stop acting like you're in this by yourself, boy, you might be able to land that plane. Oh, God.
Preach.
I will
I
I
will
will
I will
daily learn,
daily
daily
learn
daily
learn,
learn
commit,
commit
commit,
and do.
and do.
and do.
and do.
I will,
I
I
will
will
I will.
according to the POP Leadership Institute,
Act according to
act according to the leadership interview
I want you to be strong with this and be productive in my community
and
and
be
be
And
productive
productive
be
in
in
my
my
productive in
community
my community
and my private life.
and
and
my
my
and my
private life.
private life.
What you want is productivity. And
What-
even if you only add a little bit, that's still an addition. If you subtract a little bit, it steals away your thunder. Don't surrender your thunder. That is what your gift is, your prophetic unction to go out and accomplish the things that you have in your mind and your heart to do. There's not one of us online right now that's not capable. There's not one of us online right now that's not valuable. There's not one of us online that's not important. And right now, I won't accept from those of you who are online, I won't accept weakness as the option for you going forward.
Preach, Pop. Thank you. Thank you, Pop. Thank you.
And I understand fear, but at some point, you have to be guided by something stronger than that.
Yes.
Come on now.
So listen,
Say that. Say that.
in the next 3 months, we each month we having a new pop guy come home from prison. The prison have stopped their classes and they have stopped doing whatever they was doing, but we haven't stopped doing none of what we're doing. And during the time that COVID-19 was in operation, we've already received 4 people home and we're housing 2 of them. And in the next 2 months, we'll have housed 4 or 5 of them. They might have stopped and they might have took a break and all of that kind of stuff. And I appreciate it, but we haven't stopped. We haven't taken a break. We haven't given up. We're not tired. We're not afraid. We ain't quitting. All you got to do is call Mayday. Say Mayday.
Mayday.
I am.
I am.
Somebody.
I got love in my heart for you, man. I mean that. And I'm letting you go for now, but it's not because I don't love you. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves. I'll see you next week or sooner. Oh, yeah. And by the way, we're going to start up group around late June, the last Tuesday in June. We're going to figure out by that time a way for us to open up. We will stay online with some, but we'll also have people in the house, and we're moving toward the normalcy. And there are a few announcements. My wife and the oh yeah, this is important. My Girls in Action and our kind of partner is having their virtual fundraiser this Friday. Wayne will send out that information to you. If you got $10, send in $10 if you can. Just to show your love for what we're trying to do here. None of this stuff is free. And the DOC not sending us no money, but we ain't stopped doing what we're doing. We're not waiting around on them to throw out no kibbles and bits for us to eat. We're going to eat because we're qualified to eat without that.
All right.
Say that. Say that.
Preach.
Amen.
Emails are going out tomorrow 9.
The emails are going out tomorrow at 9. The notes from this meeting will come out later tonight along with the video. There was a lot of people online, but there were some people who needed to be here that were too afraid to get online because they thought the message was going to burn their flesh. But I'm going to tell you now, if you thought your flesh was going to burn for being on, then your flesh is really hot for not being on because you can't man up to your own actions and your own responsibilities.
That's right.
I got love
for you. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.
I appreciate you, Pop. I love you, man.